I was like, oh, I can't present with her. She's so smart. You have an amazing background.
Oh, thank you.
And I loved how you played in the orchestra.
Yeah,
What
I love it too. It keeps me sane.
and what instrument do you play?
I played the double bass.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, yeah. So it's hard to get around.
Yeah, yeah, it's not something you could just carry around. But
Yeah,
that's
you can't even get
impressive.
it on a plane really. So,
Yeah, that has to be tough. Yeah, but that's impressive. Impressive. I was really impressed with your background.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's begin.
Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to start off by welcoming our two amazing speakers. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our
Thank
topic,
you.
yeah, our topic for this session is empowering women in STEM and AI. Our speakers today are Connie Fife and Kayla Budinal. Did I say it correctly?
Yes.
Okay, just practicing. Connie is a philanthropist and hashtag Beyond Me Too activist. She is an award-winning speaker, high-performance coach, five-time author, as well as host of the Connie Five Show. Kayla is a recent graduate from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology with a Bachelor of Science in Biological Engineering and a concentration in neurobiology. So this is the format for our session. Each of you will get 12 minutes to speak. At the 11-minute mark, I'll ring a bell, and by bell, I mean my phone, to keep us on time. Connie, shall we start with you?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so you can start when you're ready.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. And thank you, and hello to everyone. And I want you to grab a pen and paper.
Sorry, hold on, Connie. I think you're muted.
Okay.
Okay, you're fine now. So let's,
Am I
can we restart that?
okay? We will restart that.
All right, take it away.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Connie Fife. You already got that. I want you to grab a pen and paper. I'm going to do a little brain teaser for you to get us going this morning. And give you a second to grab that. And I'm going to give you these letters. I'll speak real slow so you can grab them. The letter B as in boy, S for Sam, A, I for India, N, X, L, E, A, T, N, T, E, A, R, S. Now, your challenge is to cross out 6 letters so that the remaining letters that you leave there on the paper, without altering any of the sequence that I just gave you, it's going to spell out a familiar English phrase. So I'll just give you 30 seconds to do that. And while you're doing that, the purpose for this exercise is to get you to think differently. We're going to be talking about STEM this morning. I like to call it STEAM because we throw in the arts, the science, technology, engineering, math, and everything that we do all encompasses that, but it also includes the arts. So I also refer to it as STEAM. And that's also the gateway for financial opportunities, employment opportunities, but not for adding, just those financial opportunities, but also we want to make sure that we're including in there and increasing the social impact and even the social justice that we're making in artificial intelligence and really enhancing the economy ahead. And I'm going to be talking about that in the next couple of minutes. So going back to those letters, we do have a chat box. While I'm talking, if you could put in that chat box, what is the word that you came up with? So you can keep doing that while I'm going through my program. So there's no question that STEAM and the STEAM skills is really the basis and forming the basis of a very fast growing economy and the business categories that are forcing us to think very differently. So there was a study that was done by the World Economic Forum that really shows the data that was released for jobs and the most demand right now. Now, we could all agree that COVID has certainly changed the business landscape, and more of the jobs are looking for those with the skills that relate to STEAM. They want to ensure that you are very clear and have that knowledge and the tools for AI, because everything we do, from music, from teaching, or any type of science positions, down to creating your own entrepreneurial business, it all comes back to AI. Look at what we're doing today. Normally, WEF would be having this program live and we would all be together. We would all have an opportunity to network, but rather we're all sitting here in the comfort of our home and doing this virtually, watching this on our own screen, on our own monitor. So that's how things are shifting so quickly. And think about even when COVID hit, it was almost immediately overnight that the world completely shut down. And it changed everything. It changed everything from our jobs and people going back to work to home. It changed how the kids are going to school today. And I mean, a lot of school, a lot of education was doing online learning, but now it's everybody's doing online learning. And those skills that relate to STEAM and AI really, really are critical today for everything that we do. And along with the AI and the machine specialists, we're also shifting in that global market, which also has resulted in new jobs. But also comes loss. So they're saying from the research that I did, that 58 million new jobs have occurred over the last year. Now, and that was before even COVID hit, that this research was coming out. 58 million new jobs. But with that, there were 75 million jobs that were eliminated. So just think about that ratio. And the rise of the digital enterprise and creating all of those new million jobs, there's positives and negatives to everything. And really the leading job categories that are in demand include data analysis, scientists. I mean, who we need the scientists, especially right now. But the AI and the machine learning specialists, the software and the application developers and analysts, and something what they call big data specialists. There's people that just sit every single day and research data. And there's new entrepreneurs, there's new businesses popping up every day that are just studying that data. And data is critical. We need data. No matter what you do, what type of business that you have, you need to know what that data is. And I have several businesses, and that data is really critical to us to know that we're serving our clients, where the clients are hanging out, what their needs are, what they're looking for. So that data is critical. So those big data specialists, we want them around, and they're around you right now. They may have a different title, but they are with you every single day right now. So let's talk about the change that we're all experiencing in today's economy. Back in 2016, when I was doing some research, it showed that by the year 2022, 40% of all working in professional careers would become entrepreneurs. Because there's people every day going into work, doing the 9 to 5. I've lived in Los Angeles for 8 years, and even the thought to get on one of those major highways to go to work in the morning just makes me cringe. So you have people saying, is this all there is? Is this the best that it gets? And so now take what happened just this year alone, and we're only in year 2020. So I was trying to find some research on that to see where we're at with the entrepreneurs, because we have millions of people who have lost their jobs. So the current business atmosphere has drastically changed, and the amount of people that have lost their jobs is now increasing the amount of people who are looking to become entrepreneurs, but say, how do I do that? Where do I go for that? What type of tools and research do I need? Knowing and understanding the data is really important, rather than just throwing something out there because it's a passion project of yours. You still want to ensure that it's the people that have that need. And because you always, if there's a need, fill it, look for that, and take what you have, take what you know, or take what that passion is, and you can definitely shift that and pivot that to fill the need of other people and what they're looking for in their lives. Because we're getting so many phone calls from people asking that question, what do I do? Where do I go? And these people, they weren't, again, they weren't happy in their jobs before, and they were wishing that they can become an entrepreneur, be that small business owners. Well, for a lot of people, that wish is coming true, whether they chose to do it or not. And I always joke that I became an entrepreneur long into my childhood, before I even know what entrepreneur meant, because I would ride around town on my bicycle. I would be babysitting. I would be cleaning houses. I'd be ironing men's shirts, anything that I could do to raise money to help support my family. And then, fast forward years later, I went to college, I got my career, landed a position as CEO in a corporation, been in the C-suite for a lot of years. And then I lost my job 13 years ago. And it wasn't, starting a business because I had a passion for something. It was taking what I knew, doing research around technology, and fully understanding the capabilities that I had. And I even went back to school and took some classes so I could enhance my skills, because, being a CEO, all I had to do is pick up the phone and call somebody on my team and say, do this. But then when you have your own business, it's, you got to do it all yourself. So having those skills, having those tools is really critical, and no matter what career path that you've chosen with that. So all of these entrepreneurs and small business owners, they're taking their STEAM skills and they're combining it with AI to create very impactful businesses that are having largely an effect on social impact on our society. Emphasizing those skills, though, may not be enough. I mean, there really needs to be a greater emphasis on the way that people are also interacting with each other and managing those business challenges. Because you just have to be, you have to be careful, because we get so tunnel vision and so focused with what we have, what we need to do, that we forget that interaction with other people, and almost, in a sense, you become robotic, and you don't want to do that. And if you want to succeed in business, you need to know where you're going, but also you want to ensure that you're encircling yourself with that team of people that are going to help and support you and guide you along your path, so you can manage those challenges. Because there will be challenges, but you want to be able to manage them, be ready for them, be prepared for them, so you can continue moving forward. So there really, that's that recalibration that happens, and we need that recalibration to happen also in our education system more today than ever, to be teaching STEM, from leading to also succession in digital organizations, and where they're going with those programs. So I spoke recently with a group from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. So I got to ask some of the execs at the Chamber of Commerce, what their thought was on the workplace and how the workplace is changing, not just from COVID, but just in general, from AI. And and what they shared was that the workplace is changing so rapidly that we need to create a generation that's ready for the challenges of AI and the digital future, that really requires people to think differently. So we did the exercise, so I just want to check really quick here. Do we have any response in the chat? Okay, so we have a couple more minutes. So if you could start filling that in, what you think that exercise was, because I'm going to reveal
Sorry,
that in just a minute.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to stop you. It's been 12
Okay.
minutes. So let's give Kayla a chance, then we can, if we have time, we'll come back to
Okay, great.
Okay, Kayla, take it away.
Awesome. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
All right. So we're here in the year 2020, and the fact is that a majority of the world relies on advances that have been brought forth by the work in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM. And from the invention of the wheel in 3500 BCE to eyeglasses by the Chinese in the year 1000 to the first smartphone, which most or all of you have in 2007, discoveries made in STEM have led to the very things and ideas that we use in our everyday life. In addition to creating the technology that we use, advances in STEM have led to a decrease in the cost and size of these technologies, making the technology more accessible than ever before. For example, the very first computers took up entire rooms, and now I'm speaking to you from across the world on a laptop that is only this wide. It's amazing when you think about it. Another example is how in the United States, there's about 60% penetration of landlines throughout the nation. And this was needed for initial telephone communication when it was invented. And everyone had corded phones and landlines, and there was dial-up internet, and it was pretty clunky. However, in countries that were able to gain this access to telephones at a later amount of time, already there was a more advanced version that ended up being introduced due to the rapid improvement of the technology in the meantime. These countries include places like Ghana, Nigeria, Bangladesh, where only about 1% of the people who have access to telephone communication use a landline. Otherwise, everyone else just uses wireless cellular devices. So we can see that advances in STEM have allowed the world to become more connected, whether it be providing virtual interaction over Zoom instead of a physical conference. In the case that there would be a physical conference, it would be something, STEM would give us the tools to physically connect, such as through flying, driving, sailing, you name it. Today, the STEM workforce is hundreds of millions strong around the world, and STEM careers are growing at a rate higher than any other job sector. But the reality is that the realm of STEM continues to grow and advance rapidly. But on the other side of that, something called the STEM gap only gets wider and wider. And what I mean by that is, despite the growing job market, women only make up roughly 28% of the STEM workforce. Why? Well, let's look into the numbers a little bit. So this already low number decreases even more when you look at the population of women, both with university degrees, and this results in only about 18% of university graduates being both women and with a STEM degree. So not only that, but multiple studies over the years have shown that women are less likely to have their research published. They get paid less for the work that they do, and oftentimes they don't progress as far in their careers as their male counterparts. And the latter is due to a multitude of issues, including women in science and technology jobs, according to a recent article by the Harvard Business Review, are 45% more likely than their male peers to leave the industry within the first year as a result of what they consider a hostile work environment. And this could include facing discrimination and stress in addition to their work lives due to pregnancy, having to do childcare outside of their work life and not being recognized for their contributions. Among the numerous women in STEM who've had the work credited to men, there are a few that most of you, or all of you, hopefully have heard of. The first being Dr. Rosalind Franklin. She was a British chemist and an X-ray crystallographer who produced the groundbreaking image that showcased the double helix structure that would catapult forward our understanding of DNA and genetics. However, the scientists who were later credited with the finding were doctors James Watson and Francis Crick. And they were shown the image by one of Dr. Franklin's colleagues without her permission being given. The pair later were the ones to win the Nobel Prize in 1958, and they never acknowledged Rosalind Franklin, who ended up passing away sadly from ovarian cancer 5 years prior. And she was never credited with the discovery, and it wasn't until within the past couple decades that it came forth that it was actually a woman who discovered the double helix structure of DNA. Another example of this, another prolific female scientist whose discovery ended up being credited to men, is the first woman to hold a professorship at a German university, Dr. Lise Meitner. In 1938, during the Nazi occupation of Germany, the Jewish physicist was forced to flee to Scandinavia for her safety. And she ended up being in Sweden and continuing to work with her collaborator, Dr. Otto Hahn, and they were able to unlock the secret of nuclear fission. And this allowed them to pave the way for both nuclear power as a sustainable energy source and, unfortunately, nuclear weapons, which the world saw the power of very shortly after. However, when publishing, Hahn chose to omit his partner's name on the groundbreaking paper, and later he was solely awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1944 without Meitner. So, though the term STEM gap is relatively new, we can see that the issue of women being underrepresented, underpaid, and underrecognized for the contributions to the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics has been around for decades. So we need to empower women in STEM in order to close this gap. But why? Well, aside from equality issues, there's been shown that there could be a benefit to the field of, or the realm of STEM, if you were to empower women workers to join the workforce. Statistically speaking, when you look at how quick STEM is growing and how many jobs are being opened up and how many people are taking those jobs, by the year 2025, just 5 years from now, there will be 3.5 million vacant STEM jobs around the world. Why not have women fill these jobs? Additionally, adding women to the workforce has been shown to drive innovation. In fact, women's perspective and insights can add additional value to many businesses and many teams. Women generally score higher on the aspects of empathy, which is important for developing products for end users, and it allows them to collaborate with cross-functional teams more to synthesize a joint decision. Diversity helps teams progress and have different and alternative points of view while solving problems. It'll additionally reduce bias. So the name of this talk is Empowering Women in STEM and AI. Here's where AI comes in. Adding women to the STEM workforce, especially working on AI, will help to reduce AI bias. And this should be more disquieting to enterprises that wish to scale up AI and the people who use AI on a regular basis. So in the quality of interpreting causal relationships and correlations in large data sets requires some amount of subtlety, and both humans and machine learning algorithms can occasionally see patterns that would lead to biased or even dangerous conclusions. And this ultimately means that the organizations that create these AI will need to have unbiased information filtered into it. An example of this is that common AI systems such as Amazon Alexa and Apple Siri have actually been shown to, I accidentally triggered my Siri, have been shown to display gender biases. And computer vision systems for gender recognition have reported higher rates for in error for recognizing women, which is a huge issue when it comes to healthcare. So how can we empower? What?
Sorry, you have about 30 seconds left.
Okay, so how can we empower women in STEM? Well, we can redesign our education systems because it's critical to encourage female students from elementary school to join STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and math are no longer just boys' interests or hobbies or things that men can do. Women can also do that. Additionally, we need to strengthen the capacity of countries to deliver gender-responsive STEM education. We need to enhance the awareness and the importance of STEM education for girls and women alike. Additionally, you need to incorporate women-friendly, flexible policies and strategies like child and elderly care into STEM in order to encourage women to pursue long and healthy careers. And finally, we need to highlight the STEM role models and leaders in order to encourage other women while changing the attitudes around the profession. And all of these efforts combine to combat the gender gap in STEM. Data science and artificial intelligence are ways in which we can encourage and ensure that women receive equal employment opportunities in our new digital age.
All right, sorry, I'm gonna have to cut you off, Kayla.
All right.
Thank you both so much. And now on behalf of WEF, I would like to award you both the Iconic Women Creating a Better World for All award. You should receive a soft copy of it in your email in a few days. And with that, we'll end this session. Thank you both so much and have a great rest of your day.
So thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Hi, Tony. Hi, Tanisha. Can you hear me?
Hello.
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 I love that enthusiasm.
It's a bit nerve-wracking sitting there waiting and thinking, oh my goodness.
Well, it's so great to have you both here. I'm sorry we were running over a little bit from the previous session. So let's just get right into it. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session. A big thank you to our two amazing speakers. We are truly lucky to have you with us today. Our topic for this session is re-articulating experiences, moving from pain to power. And our speakers are the lovely Tony Lontis and Tanisha Cherry. So just a little bit about our speakers. After 35 years in nursing, Tony is now a live streaming audio queen, a collaborative business radio host, and author of the book Resilience, Memoir of a Broken Little Girl Discovering a Woman of Strength and Beauty. And Tanisha Cherry is a philanthropist, speaker, leadership trainer, and the author of I Was Born to Lose, But I Chose to Win. A book where she tells her own powerful story of overcoming extreme adversity. Ms. Cherry is also the author of the upcoming books, The Will to Lead and A Glimpse of the Sun. So this is how it's going to work. Each of you will get 12 minutes to speak. At the 11-minute mark, my phone alarm is going to go off, and that's to remind you to start wrapping it up. So Tony, shall we start with you?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, well, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. What a privilege to be able to speak to you all on this platform this evening. It's quite late at night here in Australia, but worth the weight to get on and speak to you tonight. So a little bit about me, and when I thought about speaking about this subject, re-articulating experiences moving from pain to power, I knew that I had to talk about my personal story. So let's start at the beginning. I was born with a congenital facial defect called a preauricular sinus. Less than 1% of the population are born with this, and it's a tiny little hole in the side of your face that is connected to your parotid gland. And what happens is that they get infected really, really easily. And at about 18 months of age, after the third lot of surgery to try and correct this deformity, I was left with a permanent left-sided facial palsy. And so whilst it's better for me now in my mid-50s, it was terribly traumatic for me as a child growing up. My eye teared, I was unable to smile properly, and of course, going to school was pretty traumatic, lots of bullying. So as I entered my teenage years, I started with a battle with depression and anxiety. And then taking forth into my 20s, I had a really powerful lack of self-esteem. And what this led to in my life was a number of decisions that were less than fabulous. And by the time I reached my 30s, I had been a single mother. I was divorced. I had 2 children. I'd suffered from sexual abuse, domestic violence, and an ongoing battle with depression and anxiety that I refused to get help for. And that was mainly because of the stigma around mental health, and no one wanted to talk about depression or anxiety. And then by the time I got to 30, I started to enter the most traumatic 10 years of my life. And during that time, I started to struggle more with my mental health. And I also started to struggle with my teenage daughter's behavior. And so just a little bit of a trigger warning for those that are listening. The next part of the story could be a little traumatic for you. So I thought that I'd met this amazing man when in fact he was a wolf in sheep's clothing. He, to all intents and purposes, appeared to be this wonderful man that looked after myself and my family and my kids. And I thought that the only thing wrong in my life was my battle with the voices in my head and my ability to communicate with my teenage daughter. So cut forward to a time when we were about to get married. 2 weeks before the wedding ceremony, my then 18-year-old daughter approached me and told me that she had been abused for a number of years. And so what happened at that point in time was a terrible traumatic time where I had a breakdown and we struggled to get the perpetrator to court. Immediately that she told me this news, I cut him out of our lives, but he continued to harass us and cause all manner of dysfunction and hurt and pain. He stalked my daughter. He called the police on us when there was no reason to call the police. All sorts of things happened during that time. Eventually we took it to court, and the judicial system in Australia is incredibly traumatic. And whilst we got her through the court case and we sent him to jail, 4 months after that, the Supreme Court judges agreed to his appeal and let him out of jail. And that began the spiral of my daughter's life and her suicide attempts, drug abuse, etc., etc. So the only reason that I tell you this story is so that you know that there is life at the end of trauma, that you can heal, that you can change your life, and that you can still live a wonderful life. So I am 13 years past that horrible time in my life. And in the last 2 years, I have written a book. I now speak publicly. I have my own radio shows, of which last week I hosted and co-hosted 5 live radio shows. And this is the woman who, until 18 months ago, was still too scared to get on the phone, who was still so traumatized that someone would not appreciate who I was. And I felt so flawed and imperfect that that stopped me living a life that I was meant to lead. And so I just want to tell you that in talking about articulating experiences and moving from pain to power, my life is exactly that. If I can do what I am doing now and speak live to thousands of people on the internet, do it every day after the things that I've been through, then I want to encourage all women and all girls out there, no matter what your story is, and everyone has a story, everyone has something to say. And I believe that we should all be given that opportunity to say it. So for those of you that have ever struggled, this message is for you. And it's about moving from painful experiences and rewriting your story. It's about healing from trauma and pain and becoming a beautiful, wonderful, self-sufficient version of yourself. And what a pleasure to be able to come on this forum and speak to women alike all over the world, because it doesn't matter whether you're in Australia, whether you're in the whether you're in the United States, whether you're in India. All women who have been through trauma have elements of the same thing that runs through their life. And again, if I can just encourage you to take one step towards healing and health and happiness, and if I can give you one message of hope, that is, don't give up. Don't stop trying. Don't listen to what other people say. And don't let your physical constraints or what you look like stop you living your best life. And so I want to finish by just saying that being able to tell your story from a place of healing and health and wholeness is such a privilege. And I am grateful every day for the people that actually stepped out and encouraged me to firstly write a book and encourage me to speak and tell my story and encourage me to step forward in the middle of my life and create my new entrepreneurial journey. So I love talking to people across the world. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, please don't hesitate. I have 2 websites, radiotony.com and tonylontas.com. I have contact forms on there, and I love to hear from people, and I love to hear your stories, and I love to offer words of encouragement and gentle help where I can. So thank you very much, Reshma. I'm not sure how much time I've got. I forgot to look at the clock when I started.
You got about 2 minutes left, but
I've got about 2 minutes left.
yeah.
Okay, so in telling my story, I don't tell it for sympathy or empathy. What I suffered in my life was bad, but with gratitude, I can say that it created the person that I am. I'm relatively tough, fearless, and resilient. And those are the things that I learnt throughout my journey. So no matter what you're going through at the moment, no matter where your life is right now, I encourage you to just take a step forward. Sometimes when you're in that place of trauma and pain, all you have to do is breathe. In that moment when that pain feels so bad and there's no light at the end of the tunnel, just stop and breathe. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. That's all you have to do. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen in the future. But when that time, when you're feeling so terribly down, when life is so dark, all you have to do is breathe. That's one of the things that helped me in the darkest time of my life, was just to take a step back and not think about anything else and focus on my breath. And if there's anyone listening that is feeling hopeless and helpless, please know that there are many, many people out there that you can reach out to. And if you want to reach out to me, that would be fantastic. And I'm going to stop my talk right now so that Tanisha can get on with hers, and I can't wait to hear what she has to say. Thank you, Reshma.
Thank you, Tony. I know it couldn't have been easy to talk about such a personal part of your life story, but it's so inspiring to see. Sorry, I'm so sorry. But it's so inspiring to see you go from, in your own words, pain to power. So thank you. And let's move to Tanisha. Tanisha, whenever you're ready.
So thank you so much for having me today. It's a true honor and privilege to be here and have the opportunity to speak. I just want to extend a special thank you to WIF, Dr. Habeen, for giving me this opportunity. And I also want to extend a special thank you to Tanya McNeil Weary. She is the president and founder of the Michigan Association for Female Entrepreneurs. And I just appreciate her for giving her members the opportunity to have international speaking platforms such as this one. So I just could not go on without thanking her. I just want to start off by saying that I normally, in addition to being an author and a speaker and a trainer, I'm also a poet. And so I've had the opportunity to speak on both large and small stages and say my poetry. And so poetry is just a part of my soul. And so as I do my presentations, I always incorporate poetry into all of my presentations. So this will be no different. So I would like to start off by something titled, I Will Persevere. This is something that I wrote to really just summarize just who I am and what I stand for. So when my world gets turned upside down and nothing is going right, and it seems as if I can't win the battle, no matter how hard I fight. When I'm in the midst of my darkest hour and the sun is not shining as bright as it could. When I've tried and failed and tried again, but my plans aren't working out as well as they should. I will rise to the occasion with sheer determination and have self-confidence when faced with doubt. I will fight my way through the storm and rain until I finally fight my way out. Throughout my life, I will trip and fall or even get knocked down. But I refuse to lie there drowning in my tears with my face pressed into the ground. I will not wallow in my own self-pity or sink in my own sorrow. I did not let my yesterday dictate my today, and I won't let my today dictate my tomorrow. No matter how difficult the task may be, I will show courage in the face of fear. I will not give up or accept defeat. I will persevere. Thank you. So I chose to speak on this topic because this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, moving from pain to power, right? Like, I feel like my life experiences have prepared me for such a topic, right? I feel like I have intimate and firsthand knowledge of this subject. So I was born to a mother addicted to heroin. I was born with heroin in my system. I don't know who my father is. I've never met him before. My earliest childhood memory was living in an abandoned apartment building where we used to have to put old food cans on the windowsill just to get water to drink when it rained. I've been subjected to physical, mental, emotional abuse and molestation. I've been in and out of the foster care system, and I'm a product of the adoption system. But with a background like that, the world decided my fate a long time ago. The world told me that I would be lazy, crazy, helpless, hopeless, copeless, counted out and forgotten about. They said I wouldn't know anything. They said I wouldn't have anything. They said I wouldn't do anything. And they said I wouldn't be anything. But I tell people that God said, and only God has the power to show you who's God. And so today, I'm a wife, a mother, an author, a poet, an international motivational speaker, a leadership trainer, a women's empowerment coach, a founder of a nonprofit organization. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a federal law enforcement officer. Today, in an agency that has over 60,000 employees, with 46,000 of them being sworn federal law enforcement officers, with only 18% of that 46,000 being female, with only 4% of that 46,000 being Black, with even less than that being Black females, with even less than that being Black females in management, with even less than that being Black females in senior level management. I'm a 5th level manager in an agency that I've been with for more than 26 years. Today, I'm your boss's boss. So I want people to understand that I'm just somebody here to tell everybody not to let anybody treat you like nobody, ever. You don't ever let anybody treat you like nobody. So bruised but not broken, I stood to my feet. I did not wallow in self-pity. I did not accept defeat. They wanted to see me crumble and they expected to see me fall. But I fought fear, shame, and doubt. I fought against it all. God showed me grace and then he showed me mercy. He gave me the tools to save myself and then he said it was up to me. So I took control of my own life and I shaped my own fate because I don't need anybody else's permission for Tanisha Cherry to be great. So I came here to tell you that you don't need anybody else's permission either. You see, my mother couldn't do it, and her mother couldn't do it, and her mother couldn't do it, and her mother couldn't do it. But somebody had to stand up and break the chain of hopelessness and helplessness. And I had to make the choice. I had to make the choice to succeed when it would have been easier to fail because nobody expected anything of me in the first place. I chose to stand when it would have been easier to stay down on my knees. You see, no matter what choices my mother made for me, those were the choices that impacted my life early on, but I had to decide whether I was going to let that define me or if I was going to choose to use that to catapult me to where I know I deserve to be. And I don't do it for myself. I do it for my children's children. And whereas my earliest childhood memory was living in an abandoned apartment building, my children live in a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, in-ground swimming pool in the backyard, a hot tub in the backyard. They don't know what it means to have nothing. I did it for them and I did it for their children and their children and their children. So it is very important for you to understand that you have to be willing to save yourself. No matter what has happened to you, no matter where you come from, it doesn't dictate where you're going. You get to choose that every single day. And so before I leave here today, I have to leave you with a few words of wisdom. I tell people all the time, I'm not the first, I'm not the best, I'm not the only, but I have personal fortitude and resilience, and it continues to be a real game changer for me. And today I want to share with you some advice that has helped me to expect, face, and address and overcome adversity. It's with these guiding principles that has helped me to transform my pain into power. Number one, dream beyond your reality. Look past where you are and fight like hell for who you want to be. Number two, don't let somebody else write your story. You're the author of your own story, and how that story ends is completely up to you. Always remember where you come from. It doesn't dictate where you're going. Understand the significance of your decisions. Every single exchange, every decision you make, it means something. There's no such thing as an insignificant decision. Every decision is taking you in one direction or another. You have to make that decision understanding that one decision is either taking you closer to your goal or further away from your goal. Number four, be your own biggest cheerleader. Not everyone will support your dreams in life, but you must believe in your dreams even when nobody else does. Number five, understand your value and value your worth. Never negotiate the non-negotiables. Some things are just unacceptable. Don't ever give away your self-respect. Always remember that you cannot be convenient and special at the same time. Number six, always remember that you get in what you put out. Good enough will never be good enough. Be the best that you can be whenever you can be it. You don't get what you ask for. You don't get what you cry for. You don't get what you beg for. And sometimes you don't even get what you pray for. You get what you work for. You get what you work for. So you got to show up and you got to do the work. Number seven, success doesn't take a break. You must work towards your purpose every single day. I have a relentless determination to succeed by any means necessary. I wake up in the morning thinking about success. I think about success all day long. I think about success before I go to bed. Sometimes I can't sleep at night because I'm thinking about success. If it's a good day, I grind. If it's a bad day, I grind. If it's a hard day, I grind. If it's an easy day, I grind. If it's a rainy day, I grind. If it's a sunny day, I grind. Every day, I grind. You got to show up every single day. Every day I wake up, I thank God for waking me up in the morning. I shake off the negativity and doubt. I make the decisions, take the actions to break the cycle. I wake, I shake, I make, I take, and I break every day without failure. You have to show up for you every day. Number eight, you have to have a winning attitude. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are absolutely correct. Attitude is everything. Most battles, they are won or lost right here. Before you even take any physical action, the battle is already decided right here, right now. You have to understand the power of your attitude. Number 9, adversity is a reality, but reaction is a choice. In the midst of trials and tribulations that life will surely bring, you have 3 choices. You either sit back, you turn back, or you fight back. I chose to fight. I tell people that I'm not afraid to fight and I'm not afraid to lose, but I am afraid to not fight, because when you don't fight, you definitely lose. If you fail to fight for it, you have no right to it. As for me and my house, we will fight, and we will fight, and we will fight, and we will fight, and we will fight. And just when you think we cannot fight anymore, we will find the will to fight. Number 10, last but not least, you have to love you enough to show up for you. You have to love you enough to fight for you. You are the first person you wake up to every morning. You're the last person you go to bed to every night. You're the only person that you spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with. You're the one person that you cannot escape. And you are the one and only person that nobody can save you from. You have to love you enough to save you. People ask me all the time, how did you do it? How did you survive? How did you turn tragedy into triumph? How did you turn that pain into power? Whenever I'm asked that question, I'm reminded of the quote by Nishan Panwar that says, you were given this life because you were strong enough to live it. I promise that at some point in life, you're going to feel used, abused, neglected, rejected, unprotected, and disrespected. There will be many times you're going to feel like you're not strong enough to withstand the pain and too weak to find the power. But on that day, in that exact moment, I want you to remember that you were given this life because you're strong enough to live it. In closing, I want to leave you with this, because I feel like I wrote this for all women who have to be all things to all people all the time, and that is all of us. And in a women's forum, I cannot leave without saying this. The title of this is Who Am I? I am strong, beautiful, creative, and smart. Everything I do from the heart. I'm a wife, a mother, a daughter, and friend. I'll fight for what's mine until the very end. I'm a counselor, a teacher, and a mentor too. Raise, lead, or shine, I do what I have to do. I'm a lover and a fighter all in one. I will not quit or give up until the job is done. I can create something out of nothing at all. I can catch you before you even begin to fall. I can ease your pain with just one touch. I can make something last forever without having much. I can resolve complicated issues with the greatest of ease. I can get what I want by just saying please. I can make $1 out of 15 cents. I can get away with anything by just playing dance. This must be the work of many, you say. Please, I play all these roles in just one day. So don't you ever underestimate what I can do, because I can do anything I put my mind to. There's nothing in this world that I can't achieve. When you lose faith in me, I'll still believe. I'll show you things that you've never seen. I'll make you say things that you don't even mean. I'll say it in a way that it's never been said. I'll lead people in a direction they've never been led. I'll accomplish what you never thought that I could. I'll survive when you never thought that I would. I'll become everything you never thought I could be. I'll make sure you remember me. And just when you think I'm done, I'm coming back for more. Who am I? I am woman. Hear me roar. Thank you.
Wow. I had goosebumps from the beginning to the end. Just, wow. Thank you. Thank you both so much. Everyone is leaving here a better person if they take to mind even 1% of what you both talked about. It was truly an honor to meet you and hear you speak. Let me just turn that off. Before we end, I just wanted to let you both know that you have received the WEF Award for Iconic Women Creating a Better World for All for your contribution. You should receive a soft copy of it in your email in a few days. And with that, we'll end this session. Thank you both so much.
Thanks, Reshma. Thanks, Tanisha.
Thank
Well done.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.